Fine. It's okay. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Let
Right.
the time go by. And once you start owning homes, homes beget homes.
Today's show is so good.
But number one, I've never seen an intro like that.
It is my hope and desire that not only will episode 30 still be fun, but episode 300 will be even more fun. You were made for something great, so go and be awesome.
Ten seconds remaining.
Hello, and welcome to the show. My name is Renee Hastings, and I'm your host of Renee Speaks. Y'all, this episode is brought to you by Executive Help Now and powered by Livestream Editors. At Executive Help Now, we're all about simplifying your business so that you can focus on what really matters. From streamlining operations and managing your back office to producing podcast shows and keeping everything organized, our team is here to help you thrive. If you're ready to make your life just a little bit easier, hit us up at www.executivehelpnow.org. Y'all, today's guest is Adiel Gorel. He is a leading real estate investment expert and the author of 7 books, including the Amazon bestseller, Remote Control Retirement Riches. He has lectured worldwide at organizations such as Stanford, Cisco, Meta, Intel, and Microsoft, and his insights have been featured on Fox Business, ABC, NBC, Fortune, and Entrepreneur. Adiel also hosts the long-running public television show Remote Control Retirement Riches and delivered a TEDx talk in 2023 with over 1 million views. Y'all, put your hands together for Adiel Gorel.
Hi there. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. We are so excited to have you on our show today. I know this has been a long time coming. I have been back and forth with your office for several months trying to get you on the show, and we finally made it happen. I'm so excited. So thank you for allowing us a little bit of time and space in your world. So super excited to have you.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. So let's dive right in. What inspired you to start in real estate investing, and how did that lead to you becoming a global thought leader?
Well, I mean, my background is in a very different space. I'm a high-tech guy. I'm an electrical engineer and computer scientist. I was living in Silicon Valley, in Palo Alto. I did my graduate studies at the university, and then I taught, computer science at the university. And then I got my first job in Silicon Valley at a company called Hewlett-Packard Labs in Palo Alto.
Mm.
So Hewlett-Packard, when I started working there as a researcher, my salary was much higher than what Stanford had paid me. So I thought, whoa, I'm getting paid so well. Just like today, when somebody gets a job at Google, they feel like, oh, this is a big salary, that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, oh, wow, I'm getting really well paid. I was the youngest person in my research group. My colleagues, some of them were in their 50s and 60s. And I thought, whoa, having worked here for 30 years plus, getting paid like this, they must be really wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got to know them individually, I realized that was not the case. They owned their homes and a 401k, and that was it. I said, no, there's no way I'm going to work here for 30 years and look like this financially. So I need to build something myself so that when I'm in my 50s and 60s, I look much, much, much stronger than that.
Yeah.
Now, I grew up in a family of real estate developers as a child. I didn't care what my family did. I just wanted to play. But whether I wanted to or not, I was exposed to the power of real estate. So I said, okay, look, I have a high paying job, great credit, and I'm going to start investing in real estate to build my future. So later on, I'll be wealthier. So I started buying rental homes. And very soon I'll get into why single family homes. I started buying them. Now, this was in the 1980s. Yes, I started when I was 1 year old, obviously. No, this was in the 1980s. And in the 1980s, everybody was only buy real estate within 30 minutes drive of where you live. Never more than that. And everyone was following it. So I followed it too. I was living in Palo Alto and buying homes in Silicon Valley. After a few homes, I realized I couldn't build an empire in Silicon Valley because even in the 1980s, although all the numbers were much lower than they are now, the ratios were just as bad. The rents were too low relative to home prices. So I said, either I stop building an empire or I break the 30-minute so-called rule and go places where the numbers work. So I did a little research. In the 1980s, I didn't have the web. Sergey Brin and Larry Page were in kindergarten, but I still had access to my research lab at Stanford. And there they had the ARPANET. That's the precursor to the internet.
Okay.
Very, very silly kind of interface, just a line that you type. But still, with a little research, I saw that if I flew an hour and a half from San Francisco, I would get to a smaller city that went by the name Las Vegas. Many people would recognize that name, I think.
I think.
And I could see that I could buy homes in Vegas for 1/4 of the Silicon Valley home price. But to my surprise, the rents in Las Vegas were about 1/2 of the Silicon Valley rent. That was so much better.
Yeah.
I started flying to Vegas every weekend. Now, the people in Las Vegas had never met somebody who is buying out of state. Nobody was doing it. So they were super skeptical. I always looked younger than my age back then. I looked like a boy. They said, this boy is just going to waste our time. Nobody wanted to work with me. So I spent the first couple of months doing what I knew I had to do, looking for a local property management firm. Because obviously, if I lived in Palo Alto in California and I was going to buy in Las Vegas, Nevada, I would need a local manager to take care of my home. Right. So I interviewed management firms, and finally I found one that I liked. I was still very nervous because I never had the chance to really test them in the field yet. Finally, a local broker took pity on the crazy boy from California and said, okay, I'll find you homes. And I started buying.
Nice.
Now, I was always very aggressive when it comes to things like this. And in my first year, I bought 22 homes. Now, before everybody gets too excited about it, let me just say the average home I bought in Las Vegas in the 1980s cost me, drum roll, $39,000 for the whole house.
My word.
Not only that, but Fannie Mae back then didn't have a limit on the number of loans that an individual could have like they do now. And they enabled me as an investor back then to put only 10% down payment with PMI or private mortgage insurance, which I did because even though my salary was high, I was a young guy with not much cash. So I wanted to stretch my cash. Now, given that I was buying homes for $39,000, putting only 10% down plus closing cost, it's not surprising that I could buy 22 homes
Mhm.
working in Silicon Valley. But still, I had never met a person who owned this number of homes, and my Silicon Valley friends were making great fun of me. You're
Mhm.
crazy. What are you doing? Nobody's buying out of state. No, you're going to fail. But after about a year, when they saw me with my, my 20 plus homes, the logic of the engineers started working, the logical people.
Mhm.
They said, you know what? We understand what you're doing. In fact, we want to do it too. Like,
Right?
oh, do it. It'll change your future. They said, come on. We have no time. You work in Silicon Valley too. We barely have time to go to the bathroom here. No, you are there with your managers and your homes. How about you lead us? I said,
Mhm.
okay. So I led a group of maybe 20 engineers, and over about 3.5 years, we bought 250 homes in Las Vegas, not as a group. She bought 6 homes for herself. He bought 4 homes for himself. I bought a few more, 250 homes all together. And I made
Wow.
I made the very trivial discovery that even the very timid, the very cautious engineer who bought just 1 home in Vegas enjoyed the clout, the power of 250 homes, because the service providers, most notably the property managers, realized even if this guy is not happy with them, he would complain to me. And now I'm not happy. And every other manager in Vegas was calling me all the time. Come to us. We are better, we are cheaper, we are taller, we are prettier. Who doesn't want to manage 250 homes?
Right.
I started enjoying it a great deal. Now, because it was so unusual, I started getting invited to speak to various investment groups about it.
Mm-hmm.
In one of the lectures that I gave, unbeknownst to me, was a reporter for the San Francisco paper. In the Sunday paper, there was an article about this. Then it led to the NBC, the morning news. And I realized, you know what? I like this thing so much more than my high-tech life. And I feel like I'm changing my own future and the future of all my friends and everybody who comes and listens. I formally started our company, ICG, 40 years ago. And since then, our investors have bought more than 10,000 homes in about 30 markets, but the principle remains the same. We form a local infrastructure with local property management firms who nowadays are easy to work with because they see how much business they can get. Obviously, they want to work with us.
Right.
Local brokers who also want to work with us because they see how much business they can get. And then we have markets where we bought 2,000 homes, 3,000 homes. So again, even if a person comes in and buys one little home, they carry the clout of being part of 3,000, even though the home belongs to them.
Mm-hmm.
They enjoy the clout of thousands of homes. Now, after a few years, I decided to buy only brand new homes. And it has a lot of benefits. And I have a series of magazine articles that I wrote for investment magazines. I'd be happy to share it with your viewers. And one of them says, why buy brand new homes? And so we're buying brand new homes in markets in the country that make sense. For example, I'm located in the San Francisco Bay Area. That's a market that does not make sense to buy.
Mm.
The prices are too high. The rents are relatively too low. The California laws hate landlords. Not a good place to buy. So we buy primarily in the Sun Belt states. These are the states in the South, states like Nevada, Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. I don't buy in the North, don't buy in the Midwest. I like to buy in large metropolitan areas for job diversity. I love the suburbs because it's usually families with kids. The kids go to school. It's like a root in the ground. And then affordable. So when I live in the San Francisco Bay Area and a home here is $2 or $3 million, or 1.5 at least, we invest in places where we can buy brand new homes in the suburbs for $230,000 and $270,000 and $300,000. And so that's what we still do to this day.
Wow.
And people ask me, why aren't you retired? If you've been doing it for 40 years and clearly you've bought a lot of homes, and I have, lead by example, why are you on this podcast? Why aren't you on a boat somewhere? Why are you not retired? The answer to that comes right now. My mind was blown to pieces more than 40 years ago when I discovered that in this country, and to the best of my knowledge, only in this country, they give us the biggest financial gift in the world. Now, people have made money in real estate throughout history in every country, but in this crazy country, we get a gift that is unbelievable. The name of the gift is well known, but except for one person, Warren Buffett, who I was in touch with in 2012, not a single person ever thought about what it means until I explain it. Once I explain it, it's easy. Then what's the name of this unbelievable gift? You know the name. The name is the 30-year fixed rate loan. So people say, come on, everybody knows. No, there's nothing new. Go away. Okay, fine. So why is it the biggest gift? Here is what happens when I speak in Europe. By way of an example, I tell the Europeans, my Americans can get a loan called 30-year fixed. The Europeans say, what does it mean? I say, just like the name implies, the monthly payment, principal and interest, is always fixed, never changes with inflation, cost of living. It is fixed. And in addition to that, the loan balance, how much you owe, even though it goes down every month with the principal payment that you make, still doesn't keep up with inflation. The Europeans don't believe me. They say, excuse me, sir, you clearly don't know what you're talking about. I can't believe I drove 100 kilometers to hear you speak. This is total nonsense. And we're going to prove it to you using logic. Here, you have inflation in the United States, right? Right. All the time, right? Right. Sometimes high, sometimes low, but it's always there, right? Right. 40 years ago, you went to the movies in San Francisco for $2. Now it's $16. 40 years ago, you bought a postage stamp for 4 cents. Now it's 78 cents. If you go to Whole Foods today and you buy a beautiful organic avocado, it's going to be $3. You know, we know, everybody knows, in 10 years, it's very likely to cost $6, right? Everybody knows all of that.
Right.
How is it possible that in an environment where the price of everything constantly goes up with inflation, because inflation makes the dollar buy less and less, so you need more dollars to buy the same goods, whether it's tomatoes, avocados, jackets, rents, houses, shoes. How can anybody in this kind of an environment lend you money that'll be the only thing in the US economy never to keep up with inflation, what everything else does? If that were true, which is impossible, it's crazy, it's not true, it would be the biggest gift in the world, because inflation would become your best friend, eroding the real value of the fixed loan while everything goes up and up in real dollars all the time, building your wealth month after month, year after year. It would be too good to be true. It is not possible. Nobody's going to be crazy enough to lend you money like this in an inflationary environment. Therefore, you don't know what you're talking about. We made our point. No argument. So I tell them, I see you have these phones. Care to do a little search? So they say, oh my God, you really have this insanity. The next question is always the same. They say, if you can get this unbelievable gift in the United States, and only in the United States from what we can see, Why don't the Americans drop everything they're doing and run out and get as many of those as possible all the time? It'll make them wealthy. My answer is always the same. I don't know why they don't. I sure did.
That's right. Smart man.
The message that all you need to do is get a 30-year fixed rate loan and then let the time go by and let inflation build your loan. And from very vast experience, I can say the sweet spot is you don't have to wait for 30 years. Between 12 and 14 years, your loan becomes so tiny that you could retire, you could be wealthy, you could whatever it is. How could I don't feel like I want to retire when I have a message that no one is thinking about except Warren Buffett? This message is life-changing. And here is an example of what it looks like. I get a call from one of my investors, a Silicon Valley guy, says, remember me? And by the way, you don't have to be a Silicon Valley guy. You can be a teacher, you can be a truck driver, and I have many of those too. I started investing with you, he says, in my early 40s. I started by buying only one home because I wanted to see that the property manager really does all the heavy lifting. I was too busy in my job. And yes, the manager took care of the homes, listed, did all the heavy lifting. So I bought another one. And then I bought another one, another one. I heard what you said about the 30-year fixed rate loan and understood it. It's not a difficult message. So I put the minimum down payments that I could, and I ended up buying, he says, 19 homes. Again, not as impressive as it sounds. At the time he was buying them, in his early 40s, he was buying brand new homes for about $150,000 with little down payment. Not hard for a Silicon Valley engineer. He said, last year I turned 55. I looked at my 19 homes, and even though I started with a very big loan on each one because I put a minimal down payment, after 13 years, in my case, all my loans were about a quarter of the value of the home. That's what inflation does to a loan that is fixed, never changes with inflation. You let some time go by and your loan becomes tiny in real dollars.
Right.
He said, I was ecstatic. On 19 homes, I had millions of dollars in equity. But he said, then I took it one step further. I took 4 of the 19 homes and I sold them. I didn't do anything fancy, no tax deferred, 1031 exchanges, just sold them and paid my tax. And I took the proceeds and I paid off the remaining small 15 loans. And 15 free and clear homes, I retired from Silicon Valley. Let's say at 55. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then he adds the one sentence that everyone says in the future. I should have bought more.
Right. Hindsight is 2020.
That's what it looks like.
Wow. Okay, so where's our hand claps, applause, all of the things, because I know that you're genius. Absolute genius. And like you said, it's been around for forever. It's been here in the United States for forever. It is mind-boggling to try to figure out why more people don't take advantage of what is actually already here and available to them.
When I explain it in other countries, the sentence that comes up most often is too good to be true. No, too good to be true.
Yeah. Well, and too, I think some people, depending on who you're talking to, might think that 13 years of holding something is an eternity. And they might think, I want something now. I want it now. I want it now. Because we have kind of this microwave mentality in this new generation. And I don't mean that any disrespect or anything like that for those in the audience who might be of the new generation. But what you can get yourself to think long-term, slow and steady, continuing to do, make those minimum payments year after year in 13 years, because 13 years is going to come, whether you invest or not. It's going to come.
And not only that, your mortgage payment, principal and interest may stay the same, but the rents don't. The rents go up with inflation. So your cash flow, because you put a small down payment, your cash flow may start at break even, but it goes up every year. More cash for more. The rent goes up, the house goes up, the shoes go up, the tomatoes, the avocados, everything. Only your loan remains the same, except if interest rates go down, then you can refinance it down. It is so good to be true. It's crazy stuff.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, I actually have some real estate investor friends that I have conversations with, and they absolutely are 100% for it. They understand, they see the vision. They were raised in these environments, understand, like you, understanding the value of what they had in real estate investment. And they use it now for generational wealth, creating generational wealth for, teaching their young children what it means, what home ownership means. And even in real estate, you don't have to be the home owner. You don't have to buy properties to be a real estate investor. There's so many different ways that you can invest in real estate.
Yeah, but when you buy the rental home yourself, you get the 30-year fixed rate loan.
Yes.
And when you get the 30-year fixed rate loan, inflation becomes your best friend, and it goes to work every day, minimizing the real value of the loan, building your wealth. So that's the power in the United States. That's the power. And I have people who bought 100 homes. I have people who bought 150 homes. I have people who bought one home. And even that made a huge difference in their future. And you're right. The culture here is make money fast. So some people say, I'm in real estate and I only want to fix and flip. Guess what? Hold on just 1 second. Do you know what kind of expertise and experience you need to have to successfully fix and flip? You need to be a master. You need to have fallen on your face and taken all the hard lessons. If you're a teacher or an engineer or a doctor or a show host or an influencer, you don't have time for all of this. Whatever word you want to put in here.
Right.
You don't have time for that. But if you buy brand new, beautiful homes and a local manager puts high quality tenants in them, all you have to do is nothing.
Nothing. Yes, especially when you've got a great property manager. Because I discovered in these conversations that I was having that I'm not landlord material.
I'm not landlord material, and I can tell you, I lead by example. So I own a lot of homes. If I were managing my own homes, Renee, I would be here with you on this podcast. I'd be fixing a toilet at this very moment. I don't want to do it. I want to enjoy the benefits, but I don't want to pay the price. So I have property managers, and the managers manage 1,000 homes for me and my investors in that market. They don't want to lose 1,000 homes, plus the many more we may still buy in the future. So they try hard and they care. And that's really, my job is really to do nothing. Just do. So, on my TEDx talk, I say, buy new homes with a small down payment in the Sunbelt states, in affordable cities, get a 30-year fixed loan, let the local property manager lease the homes for you, and then proceed to do the hardest action for a human being to do. Nothing. Just nothing.
Do nothing. I love that. That is such great advice. I'm glad that you shared the secrets with us and the benefit of the TEDx talk and the bottom line, cutting to the chase of it all. Buy new in the Sutton Belt state, get a property manager, get the 30-year fixed loan, and do nothing. So
when I decided not to retire, I needed balance in my life. So I make music in my home studios. These are some of my tools over there. You can find my music everywhere. Just put my name, Spotify, YouTube. I have a health and wellness podcast. You can also find it everywhere. But I dedicate more than half my time to help you. I enjoy talking to you one-on-one, finding out and holding you by the hand, connecting you to the same teams that manage my own properties, the same brokers who find my own properties will find them for you. I will one-on-one guide you by the hand. Just go to our website, icgre.com. Set up a meeting with me personally. I will talk to you. I will guide you. I enjoy doing this. This is why I decided, at least for now, not to retire.
I love that. And we are thankful and grateful for it. So thank you for not retiring. Thank you for staying in the actively engaged in trying to educate and mentor and show people how to do what you do and build this generational wealth and for themselves now, as well as for future generations to come. So I know that you just mentioned talking about your books and being on the TEDx show and that sort of things. How have these platforms helped you educate others about building wealth? So, because I know that their audiences are vast. Is there anything other than that?
So the number one thing that I decided is, number one and foremost, is to share the message of why getting a 30-year fixed rate loan is so special. And I explained it here. So that's why I'm not doing that. Number two, create a platform for enabling people to take advantage of it. So the property management firms we have in all of these markets, the brokers, the infrastructure, plus our help on top of all of it. And on top of it, we don't even charge you anything. That's another thing. We don't have to. So, I mean, I know it's crazy. I'll even tell you how. I used to charge people for my time, my company's time, the infrastructure. 20 years ago, I said, you know what, let's simplify it even more. We are licensed as a broker in this state, so we can split the real estate commissions with the local brokers. Let's just do that and charge them nothing. And that's what we do.
Wow. Wow. That's another hand clap and applause, because that is just unheard of. Providing to our communities, local communities in the Sun Belt. I'm glad Georgia's in the Sun Belt. I'm in Georgia. So that is so fantastic. I'm so grateful to you for that. And thank you for sharing that information. And so I know that we had talked a little bit about, the down payments and building financial fitness and that sort of thing. From your experience, what financial challenges do people face most when they get started in real estate and investing?
Absolutely. So I mentioned that we are buying brand new homes right now, starting at maybe 220,000, 230,000. Even if you put only 20% down, which nowadays is pretty much the minimum, that's still 46,000 plus closing costs. That's like 55,000. People say, I don't have that. Fine. So how do I come up with that? Some people save up. Some people take a credit line. Some people work with a parent. Some people work with a partner. So they bought their first home. And by the way, buying your first investment home is one of the most important things you can do, because you broke the ice. All your fears, oh my God, I'm buying out of state. What am I going to do? You bought one home. Just start with one. And it's rented and it's leased and it's even boring. Now buying home number two is just a repetition of the same process. But people say, okay, I'm ready to buy home number two, but I don't have the down payment. Fine. It's okay. This is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Let the time go by. And once you start owning homes, homes beget homes. Let me give you an example. One of our biggest markets was the Phoenix market. We are not buying there now because it's too high, but we did. I owned this home in Phoenix. I was holding it for the long term. One day I get a letter. How quaint. That was before the web and all of this, email. Get a letter from my tenant saying, we love the home, we want to buy it. He said, I wasn't planning on selling, but if you want to make me an offer, they make me a very fair offer. I sold this one home in Phoenix and did a 1031 tax deferred exchange into 4 brand new homes from the proceeds of that sale. So homes start begetting homes as the time goes by as well.
Yeah, because you pull the equity from one or from a sale, and use that to purchase for more or, whatever.
In this
So,
case,
yeah, in this case, yes. So very, very smart strategy. And so how do you then guide investors in turning complex market trends into smart, actionable strategies?
So I like to send people my basic information, and I strive to make it simple, readable, easy. I will send you a list of magazine articles I wrote by invitation. By the way, this month I'm on the cover of an investment magazine called, REI Wealth. It's kind of fun. But anyway, I'll send you those. Yeah, I'll send you those articles. You can see it. I think if your, producer goes to, I think it's Instagram, she will find it like in a heartbeat.
Yeah. We'll get all the details. We'll make sure that they're in the show notes, and so that everybody in the audience has access to it, because we don't want anyone to miss out. Like, nobody should be missing out on this opportunity to
not my health and wellness. Yeah. Here you can see it on the third row from the top. Third row, go down. Yeah, on the right side. That's me on the magazine cover, right there.
Awesome! I love it. Congratulations. That is fantastic.
So, I like to send people those magazine articles. I like to send them my TEDx talk, my talk, my PBS show, and useful information. Then I like to talk to people one-on-one, and we will guide them, send them. The most important thing is, as long as you're buying good quality stuff, get the 30-year fixed rate loan and let the time pass. It doesn't matter exactly if market A is minutely better than market B. Just do it. That's when Nike really had it right. Just do it.
Mm-hmm. Hold on. So is it ever, some people who might be up older in age might think, oh, it's too late for me. I don't even have 13 years left in me, or something like that. Is it ever really too late?
No, and I'll tell you why. Let's say you need 12 to 14 years for it to manifest its full power. Mm-hmm. However, I have so many people who only get in touch with me in their 60s because now they feel their retirement touching them in the face. And they realize they have to build something for the future. There's a misconception that at age 65, the government sends a commando unit to your home to kill you. That is not true. You continue to live, and you will live into your 70s, statistically speaking, and you can enjoy all of these benefits. And then, what about your kids? So let me tell you there's another incredible benefit in this country. I'm not going to go into it in this show. There's not enough bandwidth for us, but it's called the step-up basis. In 2 words, the step-up basis for 99% of the people, when you pass away, it all goes to your heirs with no taxes for 99% of people. That's why I have an investor who started buying with us when she was, are you ready? 84. She started at 84. She's now 90. She just bought a couple of homes because of the step up. She's not only thinking about herself, she's thinking about her children.
Wow. That is so good. And it's step up, STE.
Step up basis. Look it up. Step up basis. It's another unbelievable gift that is given where? In the United States.
Only in the United States. Holy camole. We are definitely blessed to live here. There's so many benefits to the building wealth and ways of doing that. And we are so grateful to you for sharing some of the secrets, of what we can do, and that it's not too late for those that might be.
I get happy when people call me and they're younger than 60. I'm actually happy. But you'll be surprised how many people call me after 60. But of course, if you do it in your 40s, you have a huge runway to build serious wealth and enjoy it for decades.
Yes, exactly. So the key message here is start now. Now. Like right now, no matter what age you are, but especially if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, you've got this runway of time that will help you build wealth like crazy.
I'm committed to helping you and holding your hand. I had an investor who started at 43 and he had a goal. He told me, my goal is 50 before 50. I want to own 50 homes, before I turn 50. He was on the phone with me every couple of weeks, planning, strategizing. He got there at 48.
Wow, congrats to him. That is fantastic. And did he use the same concept of pulling out the money and then the 10?
He was very sophisticated, very daring. He worked in biotech. His wife was also working. He took loans. He worked with family. I mean, he did it relatively quickly, but not everybody is looking to buy 50 houses. Right. So I was just in another country and I met a lady from Hollywood who bought 3 homes with me, 3 homes. She's now retired in another country. The 3 homes are the absolute cornerstone of that retirement. I met another person who bought 10 homes, exactly 10. He's there with his family in another country. He said, without these 10 homes, we could have never lived here.
Right. Wow. Well, I am 100% a supporter of yours and what you do and the message that you're out here sharing for our audience and for all those that you encounter. You are truly impacting lives. I'm so grateful for you allowing us this opportunity to share space, share air together so that you can teach us what we need to know to make a difference in our lives, not only now, but in the communities and in the future as well. So as we get ready to wrap up, when we think about some of those strategies and scaling and systematizing real estate investments, could founders apply? What could they? How could they use these strategies in other industries, or is this really real estate specific?
Well, I mean, in this particular case, I'm following one guiding principle: get the 30-year fixed rate loan. And what do you need to do to get it? You obviously need to buy houses. How do you do it? Don't you need managers? So setting up the whole structure to allow you, but the main message is the 30-year fixed rate loan and how it can build you wealth. Leaders in other fields, you focus on the core message and you just run with it and you build whatever you need to make that message work.
Right. Okay. Because when you are laser focused, kind of like Colonel Sanders from KFC, he had one recipe. He did chicken and he did chicken right. And that was the key to his success and his wealth. And so what you're suggesting is that we stay fixed and focused on the 30-year fixed rate loan. And that is going to be the key to our wealth and our generational, leaving a legacy for generations to come. That's what it sounds like you're saying.
Very true. Sending your kids to college, retiring, whatever goals you need, this will accomplish.
Yes. So as people can start to grow in wealth, what mindset or habit is most important for long-term financial and personal growth?
When you realize that it's possible to grow wealth with a very, safe strategy, buying homes in good area that are new with local managers is very safe. You learn that you don't need to start being super speculative or take huge risks, or you can just stay steady and preserve. Then, of course, you work with good, with a tax advisor, with the usual. There's nothing really fancy here.
Okay. But as people are, so you came from a pretty wealthy background, living in Silicon Valley, working, making great money.
Actually, to be exact, my family was middle classish plus. I came to Silicon Valley with zero money. I was a graduate student on a scholarship. I had no money.
Okay. Okay. So as you started making money, was there a mindset shift needed as you started to accumulate wealth?
Again, I had a guiding idea, the 30-year fixed rate loan, meaning buying homes, and I was refining it and making it possible with managers and brokers. Then I was helping people. And so, no, I mean, just basically keeping on doing the same thing. And then, as I said before, it can expand. Sometimes you sell one home and you parlay it into 4 or 5 or 3 new ones. And so on, you just build.
Right. Understood. I guess where I'm concerned about, for some people that I might know in my life and my path has crossed, their relationship with money could be, I don't even know like a nice way to put it. So I just won't mince words. Like their relationship with money is bad. And they think that money is evil. And they think that money is the root of all evil. And that money is, just not something that we should be striving for. But then if you try to go against that grain and you're trying to say, well, money isn't bad, but, I think that sometimes there's some work needed on the part of the individual to get comfortable with having money and being wealthy. And so that's kind of the trajectory where I was headed with that conversation, because I can easily see how taking your advice could lead to great wealth. If you think wealth is bad, then there's some shifting that needs to happen.
I completely understand what you're talking about. Completely understand. There is fear of success. There's fear of failure. There's all kinds of attitudes, and that's why this is actually not a bad methodology what I'm talking about, because it happens so gradually. You can just say, my goal is just to buy one little rental home. I live in Atlanta, so the homes are $400,000 for a new home, but I can buy in Oklahoma for $200,000. Let me buy a rental home in Oklahoma, which I can afford, and do this as my goal. Then you slowly mind shift. Oh, I own a home. You walk around a little taller. I own a home. What do you know? So it happens gradually. You say, you know what? Should I buy another one? Can I afford to? Yeah. Okay. Now I own 2 homes. How many people own 2 homes? You really walk tall. So, it happens slowly and gradually. You just have one initial little goal, and you can say, trying to buy one home in a cheaper market than where I live, so I can afford it. I will be providing a rental place for people. I'm going to be stimulating the economy. I'm going to be stimulating my self-esteem. Just strive to buy one home, and in it, and you will break the ice.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And that is so helpful. And I love that it's gradual. And that does, I think, help to make that transition, because it is such a gradual process. It's such a gradual growth trajectory. Like where you are today, this is your norm. But gradually, more abundance will become your norm. And then gradually, because you've gotten used to this small bit of abundance, you're now able to accept and receive greater abundance.
The conversations will change. If you say, I live in Atlanta, I can't afford a house, but I can afford a house that costs half as much, in Oklahoma City, which is a very good market, by the way. We'll give you managers, everything. So you strive to go there. Now in your conversations, you don't even notice, but you say, well, my tenant in Oklahoma, my tenant? You have a tenant in Oklahoma? What? Your own mind starts to shift.
Yes. And I love that. I absolutely love that. And I'm excited for whoever that happens for, because it truly is a game changer in how, like you said, how tall you walk and how confidently you carry yourself.
Now, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I talk about Silicon Valley people and doctors and lawyers, but I love it more when a school teacher buys a home. The difference in their future is even relatively stronger. You don't have to be an engineer in Silicon Valley. You could be, as I said, before, teacher, truck driver, nurse, many professions that normally may say, look, where I'm living in San Francisco, I can't afford a home. That's okay. That's okay. You can buy it in places where you can afford them.
That's right. And you have folks on your team to help them identify those places.
Absolutely.
See, so there's no excuse. Nobody has any excuse. All right, audience, there is no excuse for you not being a homeowner when you got Adiel right here in your corner. So Adiel, before we have to wrap up, we definitely want to make it possible for our audience to find you. So where's the first place they should go? We saw you on Instagram. We'll put that back up again. Where's some other places where they can find you?
Well, my full name is Adiel Gorel. You can find me on all the platforms, both my music and my health and wellness podcast and my real estate stuff. But our website is icgre.com. And you can set an appointment with me on the website. You are invited, if you scroll a little bit, to join us for our next event. We have a quarterly event. They used to be live. Now they are by Zoom, 4 hours. I bring all the market teams and they show us their homes. They talk about their markets. I bring experts. I take questions. These are great events. They're free. Our next event is on Saturday, March the 7th. You can register on our website, icgre.com, for free. Join us.
Wow. 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 What a blessing. What a blessing. If this is truly the time. We're in 2026 now. We're starting the year off right to get our minds right, wrapped around the idea of being real estate investors, and you're making it easy. So mark your calendars today to join the free webinar to learn more about how to get involved and how to basically have a done-for-you service almost. And what you have to offer, you just follow their instructions, follow their strategy, and just keep following it through. Remember, it's not a sprint, it is a marathon. So go in with the right head. Don't go thinking it's some kind of microwave type thing. This is not that. So I love that you're offering this, Adiel. Thank you so much. Adiel, you were made for something great. So go and be awesome.
You too. Thank you so much.